What's going on, everyone? This is Adam and Craig with Grandstand Golf, and this is our tournament preview for the 2021 Players Championship. Craig, we are going to TPC Sawgrass, quick hitters for the Players Championship. So, made news worldwide. It shut down just at the start of the COVID-19 pandemic to North America, to the U.S. Shut down after round one, famously, after Hideki set the course on fire a little bit.
I think one of the interesting things about that, too, there's a good article about CT Pan, who had actually withdrawn before it even started.
Hopped in the car and took off.
So maybe he saw it coming a little bit better than everyone else. But
yeah. The Players Championship, often called the fifth major, largest purse in golf, $15 million out there for the players, 2.7 to the winner. Winner also gets a 5-year.
Something to keep in mind for your one and dones out there. This is one to use your big guns, go all in.
For sure. They also get 5-year PGA Tour exemption and 3 years to the majors. As you can see from the previous winners, it brings the best, and the best players typically win. We got Rory, we got Webb, Siwoo Kim, a Pete Dye specialist, Jason Day, and Ricky Fowler.
Yeah, although I do think, the best players usually win, but when I was going through the course histories, it's not as dominant as, say, a Masters. And I think partly it might be because it's not as distance dependent. So you do see a little bit more variation. And I think that's interesting in terms of how it presents for golf tournaments.
For sure. Let's take a look at the course. So, quite famously, TPC Sawgrass, you got the 17th Island Green there in the picture below. Ponte Vedra Beach, Florida, opened in 1980. Famously, I think it was a swamp purchased by the PGA Tour Commissioner Dean Beeman for $1. Probably one of the best transactions in sports history, but turned it into this beautiful site with Pete Dye. It's been the host course since 1982. Par 72, 7,189 yards. Golf fans know it, love it. It's an iconic kind of stadium design. Anything to add there, Craig?
Well, yeah, there's always the joke, if you believe that, I got some swampland to sell you. Tell me the swamp for $1 and I'll turn it into a world-class golf course, and it's probably worth a little bit more than that now.
Yeah, I'll do something with it.
Yeah. I don't think there's much more to say. It's been obviously home to tons of memorable moments.
So this is a quick list, number 1 to 5. Number 1, first winner, Jerry Pate. He threw Dean Beeman and Pete Dye in the water. Then he dove in after himself. Pretty, iconic moment. We will link up here a PGA Tour video, some of the best top 10 moments, best top 10 shots. Yeah, up that way, I think. Hal Sutton, one of the most famous quotes, I think, in golf history. He was battling Tiger in 2000. He said, "Be the right club today."
Be the right club today.
Anyone who's played golf has said that at one point, probably 15 yards off.
Yeah.
It was not the right.
Usually it's not the right club for me.
Yeah. And then Tiger Woods, better than most. 17th green, the double breaker.
Yeah, I was telling you the other day that, I was watching the Tiger documentary with my wife, and I pulled that one out before, right as that clip was started. I was like, oh, that looks better than most. And then he starts to roll with it. She thought I was a bit of a dork.
And I think it's on every single commercial now, so everyone knows that. My wife knows it as well.
Yeah.
Fourth, Craig Perks, one of the best finishes I think ever on the PGA Tour in 2002. Chipped in for eagle on 16, 20-foot birdie putt on 17, and then chipped in for par on 18. Took it home in 2002, and then this is kind of just like a crazy happening. But Fred Couples on the 17th, hole in 3, splashes his first ball in the water. Tees it up again, hole in 1. It's a par.
Yeah, I'd have a tough time swallowing that. As someone who's never made a hole in 1,
Yeah.
I'd count it.
I'd
count it.
Mark it down as a 3.
I'd mark it down as a 3, but in my mind, I would still bring it up if anyone ever asked if I'd made a hole in 1. I'm sure Fred Couples doesn't have to worry about that.
Iconic moments. Craig, who are our horses for courses coming into the year?
Okay, so like I had said, it's not necessarily maybe some of the recent dominant players. Like Dustin Johnson's come up on most of the ones we've done recently, most of the course previews. Rory, though, obviously. Rory just seems to be regular at the top of this list. 2019 winner last time we had a full tournament here. He's been 12th or better in 5 of his last 7 starts here. So that's for, oftentimes when I'm reading off these, it's like 5 straight top 10s or crazy things. But this one is a little bit less dominant than most, this course. Adam Scott, number 2, winner in 2004, so you have to go back a little ways. But
Sure.
the reason he made it up to 2 as opposed to some of these other guys that have won, maybe further back as well, is he's been 12th or better. Adam Scott's been 12th or better in his last 4 starts here. So, he
Wow.
does have a win a ways back, but then he has been good more
Yeah.
recently as well. And he hasn't missed a cut since 2011. And the missed cut, it's something
Wow.
I'm bringing up here. Usually horses for courses it's sort of irrelevant, but you see a lot more top players missing cuts here than at other ones. And I think likely because of the water and just how easy it is to make big numbers.
And it's probably one of the strongest fields we have the entire year.
Yeah, for sure.
Even compared to the Masters or anything.
Well, the
like
Masters
that.
is such a small field usually too, which makes it a weaker field.
Yeah.
Sergio, number 3, winner in 2008, lost in the playoff in 2015 when Ricky went on to win. He's had 5 top 5s here, and he hasn't missed a cut since 2003. So that's a pretty good little stretch there.
He's got some pretty iconic moments here as well.
Yeah, he does.
For sure.
He does. Jason Day comes in at 4. He's the 2016 winner. He's got 4 top 10s and 9 starts here. That's pretty close to pretty close to as consistent as we can see from a lot of these guys. And then Kuchar, our lone American on the list. He's the 2012 champ. He has 8 top 26s in 15 starts. So not as top heavy maybe as some of these other guys who have had quite a few finishes up high, but he has been more consistent than most at the course. Mostly with top 20 type things. So yeah, not as strong of horses for courses as some other ones.
It seems like a list of ball strikers. I think all of them might be in play this year. I don't know about Kuchar though. We haven't seen much from Kuchar recently.
Yeah, and his recent history isn't necessarily as good. His is definitely skewed a little bit more in towards the early 2010s.
Yeah. Okay. Speaking of recent history, who's coming in hot? And we got some guys that are on fire in the golf world right now. So here's my list. And I made it up.
Just quick disclaimer. It's Friday of the Arnold Palmer Invitational. Adam made me turn off the TV, so I don't even know what's happening right now. So this is halfway through the tournament. Some of these guys, we might have a new winner here by the time you're watching.
We might have a new winner. There's a few actually up here. Viktor Hovland, first he's playing amazing right now. 4 top 6s, 4 straight top 6s, runner-up finishes at WGC, at the Farmers. He's in contention again late on Friday. Who knows what's going to happen at Bay Hill, but he is playing out of his mind. Mm-hmm. Number 2, Paul Casey. Amazing start to 2021. He's gone T8, a win at the Dubai Desert Classic, T12, T5 at Pebble, and again, playing great again at Bay Hill. So who knows what he's going to do on the weekend at Bay Hill. Patrick Cantley, kind of, I think, a sneaky one because we haven't seen, he withdrew from the WGC. So what has he done recently? We have to go back a little bit further. 6 consecutive top 20s. Yeah.
Just real quick on that. That was, I think, illness and dehydration. So not injury, which would be a little bit more of a concern.
Yeah, for sure. 6 straight top 20s, including a win, a second, and a third place. And he has tied single round course records in 2 of his last 3 tournaments. So speaking of a guy playing hot, I mean, he might be popping just for single rounds, but he is playing really, really good right now. Mm-hmm. Number 4, Tony Finau, getting a lot of press, obviously. 5 straight top 15s, but he went second place in back-to-back tournaments in the past month. So he's coming in hot, Tony Finau. Mm-hmm. And 5th, Max Homa. It's not just that win at Genesis. Max Homa has done a lot this year. He has top 25 in 6 of his last 7 tournaments, and I think he's looking pretty good on the leaderboard at the Arnold Palmer again.
Yeah, he worked his way up there today. And the one concern I would think of with Homa right now is he's played a lot of tournaments in a row. And so, he won his way into the WGC. So rest may be a bit of a concern for him, but you have to like where his game's at.
Oh, yeah. Okay, Craig, you crunched the numbers. Our DFS model, what did it tell you?
Okay, so crunch the numbers. It looked like the most important things this week are putting and approach play. That's what the past has told us, the past 10 years. So with that, and this is more, we're looking at long-term form. This is
lead-in putting.
So this is what people were doing coming in. So coming into the week of the players, what were the most predictive stats? And it looked like strokes gain approach and strokes gain putting were more important than off the tee and around the green. And we're looking, with these 5 guys, we're looking at their long-term form. This isn't who's been doing the best over the last month. This is like, a year and a half, 2 years, who's been doing well. So JT is at the top for this one. Obviously, we know how good of an approach player he is. Webb Simpson also makes sense in that regard. Xander, I think we see then really... I mean, Xander's a stud off the tee, but I think we underestimate how good of a putter he is, and he's been a really good putter thus far in the 2021 season, so it makes sense. Tyrrell Hatton, he may fall off this list once we get this week's stats in, because he actually looked like he might be trying to make a run to make the cut, but I think he's still got work to do to get there.
Yeah, and Thursday was not pretty.
Yeah, and Will Zalatoris, actually, someone who did charge a little bit more on Friday, put up a -3, a -4 when it was all said and done. I don't quite remember, but he's an approach game player who really stands out there, and probably is still benefiting from a little bit of a smaller sample size relative to guys who would have a full year and a half, 2 years of PGA data.
So that's interesting. We have 3 different lists, and I don't think we have one duplication at all. So it's wide open, really.
This is where you got to balance all of them. You got to balance all of them and figure out what you like.
But each week leading in, we look at the most interesting man in the field. This week, I picked Hideki Matsuyama. A guy, again, he wasn't on any of these lists. But what happened last year? Hideki, he went out and tied the single round course record with a 63 in the opening round of 2020 Players Championship, and then the golf world shut down. Like, you kind of feel bad for him. So he actually does play the course really well. Maybe he would have been 6th on your list, Craig. I don't know, but he has 5 top 25s.
Yeah, so he was someone I thought about. The real thing that held him back is I think his highest finish is about a 7th. So he has done well consistently, but he hasn't really punched through. And maybe that would have been last year when he opened with the 63.
Yeah, he hasn't popped for that great finish, but 2 top 10s, 70.73 scoring average. And that's the best of any player in the field as the field stands right now, with 5 or more appearances. Mm-hmm. So he's pretty consistent at getting kind of that top 25s, maybe not popping for that top 5 finish, like you said. But it's what's interesting here and why it hurts and pains me for Hideki is leading into 2020, he had 2 top 10s in 3 of his lead-in events. In 2021, he is not playing that well. Yeah. He only has 2 top 10s. We have to go back 14 events to find 2 top 10s for him. So he might not even make the weekend at the Arnold Palmer. We don't know, but Hideki Matsuyama, someone to watch because was 2020 his year, or can he kind of have redemption going back in 2021?
Yeah, I mean, the story with Hideki continues to be the putter and whether he can figure out something there. So it has been disappointing this year so far. So it's a course that he has a good feeling for. Maybe he can get things going and get back onto the right track. I would love to see it, that's for sure.
Yeah, exactly. And finally, the way too early weather forecast, Craig. I did something different. I added Wednesday and I added Monday because the weather can change so much. I was like, maybe the Wednesday will push in. Maybe we'll get the Monday weather. I don't know.
We also did something different here and actually got things in Fahrenheit and miles per hour just for our American fans out there.
How about that?
Us here in Canada, we're used to being able to translate from Fahrenheit into Celsius.
So again, 72, room temperature. I know that. That's in the 20s in Celsius. Nothing really. I mean, possible rain, some wind. It is too early to tell, but it looks pretty fine.
Yeah, it looks like we might get a little bit of blowing there. So that is something to keep an eye on as we get closer. So I guess it's a good time to plug our Wednesday before the tournament starts. We always do our live show. So we'll go through the latest weather forecast we have at the time and see if there's any side of the field you should be favoring.
Absolutely. As Greg said, make sure to subscribe to our channel. We have shows coming out all throughout the week. If you play DFS or fantasy golf, there's a Millie Maker on DraftKings for the Players Championship. It's a big week for DFS and fantasy golf. So subscribe to our channel, hit that thumbs up. Our picks have been doing great recently. Anything else to add there,
Yeah,
Greg?
Even if you don't play fantasy golf, still hit that thumbs up and subscribe. Hopefully you just like following golf and hearing who we like to chat about.
Yeah, exactly. All right, take care, everybody.
See you next time, guys.